Hello. Welcome to Fastfeetent. Today we got a special guest here with you today. We have the famous Kabbalah or Kabbalah. Which one is it?
Whichever one you want to call.
He said whichever one you want to call it. Kabbalah, aka Dennis Green, the Dennis Green. We're just going to go back in history. He has a lot of history embedded in him, and people know him for a lot of things, such as sports and just being who he is and being who they are. Let the people know a little bit about you. Name, age, where you grew up.
Name, age.
No, you ain't gotta say your age. Okay, your name.
Dennis Green.
Like the famous coach Dennis Green.
Yeah.
Did you get that a lot when you was young?
Yeah, he recruited me.
He recruited you?
Mm-hmm.
From where?
Stanford.
Oh, is that right? So how did that go? What was that about?
Oh, he just came check on me. See you. It's just recruit.
Okay. So what sport was this recruit for and what year?
Football.
Football? But I thought somebody told me that you made it All-American for wrestling.
Yeah, that was a different sport.
So you're two-time All-American? Don't lie now, because we got the books. We got the books.
You can look in the book. That ain't the book. That's a sophomore book.
So the yearbook is a sophomore book. And that's the All-American book. Okay. So just a couple questions. Just how was growing up in sports in Richmond, California to you back in your days and time?
Oh, highly competitive. Highly competitive.
How would you say, have you been paying attention to the sports lately? Local sports lately?
Mm-hmm.
How would you compare the talent?
No talent.
Huh?
It was competitive back in the days. Today they don't play. They either one just show up for the team, don't go out. It was mainly North Richmond people back in the days. Today you don't have one from North play on the team.
Hey, that's interesting, right? Because I took a visit to the alma mater. I ended up going to Richmond High also.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no blacks to represent the football team. When I went a year ago, and I don't know what it is this year, but that was the previous year. And that's kind of crazy because you said that was a predominantly North Richmond school. What areas went to Richmond High back when you went?
It was a brand new school. You had North Richmond Central. But just that with the Pano, it was competitive.
That's what's up. So it seems like time has changed. But looking at this yearbook, it was kind of a shock to me also. It seems like it was to me, it seemed like Richmond was all blacks.
Yeah.
The year I went there was predominantly blacks and Asians and Mexicans. But looking in this yearbook, you see a lot of, just a mixed culture there. How can you explain that? Like, was it, like, how was the blacks dominant as far as the race up there then? And, how would you explain that? Like, how would you talk?
Blacks dominated, took over
So
everything.
So is it fair to say now that the blacks don't got it?
Mm-hmm.
And is that still an urban city then?
Mm-hmm. St. Pablo, we used to have to walk in the game to walk to North. If we walked to North Richmond, we had to walk in the game or we get jumped on.
Say that again?
We had to walk in the game or we'd get jumped on.
Northers?
Walking from Richmond High to North Richmond. We would get jumped on.
Wow.
White people.
Was that right? Because going through Pablo during that little stretch.
Mm-hmm.
So did y'all have little routes back then?
We walked in the game, the whole group of us.
Dang, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like they had y'all running.
Yeah.
That's interesting to know. So it must have been a time where they stood up and was like, "Nuh-uh, what year was this?" You went back in.
Richmond High was first built 74.
Was that the new? Now, what's the new gym? I had see the new. I hear a lot of people say the old gym and new gym. Was that before?
When you went to Richmond High, all that was brand. When I went to Richmond High, I was the first freshman class to go there.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Brand new school. I mean, spanking brand new.
That right?
Mm-hmm.
So your freshman year was the first year it actually opened.
Mm-hmm.
Did they have seniors and juniors and stuff like that? And where did they come from? What schools did them people come from?
Oh, they went to Harry Else while the school was being built. And they came back to Richmond High.
So basically, a lot of people. That's why a lot of people like they got Harry L's.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where did you go? Harry L's or you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I hear a lot of the
Back in the days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's something tight to know. Richmond High has so much history, including even a movie being made out of it called Coach Carter. Now, that ended up being my coach, and he knew me from you. Like, I got a lot of clout. It's the new word they say these days, clout. It's basically recognition, fame, whatever they use. They use the word clout from you back in the days, and the banner was actually up there with your name on it, Dennis Green. You know what I mean, including your brother and things like that, as All-Americans. So that being that first year, what is one of the top athletes you've seen out of your school when you was a freshman come out of Richmond High?
There was a championship football team like Woody Hamilton, Maurice, quarterback was Maurice, he was from North. Everybody was almost black, and they went undefeated.
Wow. Now I got the banner. I got to go look at it. So they had a good squad when they first opened up. But that was the program's first year. Is that because it was a fresh school and people wanted the new?
I don't know. They was just good.
Isn't that right?
It was good.
What was the top competition around the way? I'm looking in the yearbook, and it says Berkeley still back then.
Yeah, Berkeley. We played Berkeley in the championship. Beautiful.
All right. The first year was Berkeley against Richmond High?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Now I see some names in here. Henry Cooper, Robert Griffin, Earl Freeman, Willie Cox, Rick Williams, Mike Fillmore.
All them were juniors.
All these are juniors?
Mm-hmm. Sophomores.
Okay.
That was the first year we that was JV sophomores.
Let's say varsity.
Varsity?
They say the 71 varsity squad.
No, they didn't play varsity.
On that team. They might have been mixed up because I see the soft fresh. So they used to have freshman and sophomore on the same team?
Mm-hmm.
So what about JV? That was JV, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Freshman, sophomore, Mike Jackson. Was an MVP on that squad. Is you on this squad? Or no, you was on the freshman? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. So, how was the basketball? The other programs. I see you was All-American, as it says in this yearbook. Basketball squad?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all had racket, so that's y'all had golf. Racketeers,
Good.
baseball, ACCAL, Mike Williams, all these the football coach, track coach, Kurt. Remember Kurt? Ronald Young, Ray Hicks. I'll let you view the yearbook. But also, I'm just gonna read your profile. It says, Dennis Edward Green, Richmond, California School, Richmond High, Coach Frank Milo, Mr. and Mrs. Green Jr., Miss Catherine Carr, AC Cruz. Then the list is your height. You was 210, 220, 5'10", average 2.42. I don't know what that means. DG O tackle, ACAL football, 162 tackles, 3 fumbles, 1972 All-League Defensive Player, Offense All East Bay, All Northern California, IG Lineman of the Year. What's IG?
Newspaper lineman of the year.
Ooh, MV Offense and Defensive Lineman. So you got both of them. Most valuable offense and defensive lineman. 208 tackles, 4 fumbles, 1973. Eastern Conference, career, ESAA Advisory Committee, career EDBDHS rep, Friends of North Richmond volunteer worker. What was that about? What's a volunteer worker?
I tutored at school.
Is that right? That's crazy. I did that the last one. I know what's new too. Junior leadership, 1968 to 71. Wrestler, 71 through 74. Honors baseball coach, league champs, weightlifting champ, 1973. Oh, that's a cool thing. He's an All-American, real All-American. Now, with things and times and things that change in sports, you just seen generations come through. Now, your son that went through the sports didn't, and now you got your grandkids and nephews and stuff coming up through the sports. Through the times in sports, and we just seen our first NFL shutdown. The sports basically just shut down. How do you feel that impacted high school sports and college? How would that have affected you back then to do what it is now? So basically, I'm asking, if back then the sports would have shut down, the whole networks, everything, programs would have shut down, how would it affect you back then in 1970, nearly 50 years ago?
Well, whatever. Not too much, because I was too short to go play. That's why I didn't get recruited, because I was too short. You had to be like 6'5".
Now, back in the days, I heard they went off of basically your measurements. So in here it says you was 5'10". That's actually short. I ain't gonna lie, that is short. That was my problem. I felt like I wasn't getting recruited because of my height. I know my skill and heart and things measured up, but in those days of sports, they do take height and weight in consideration, and especially when you're young and they feel like you can grow even more, and they feel like they can develop you. So to me, it seemed like things have changed, because now you got little small running backs. Like, it don't matter. Now they don't care about the big running back. You don't got the big Bo Jacksons no more, or you know what I mean?
Bo Jackson, Earl Campbell was so big.
I seen him.
I couldn't believe it.
Bo Jackson, So,
They was huge and running backs.
Now you got the dudes almost half their size these days, but barely 5 feet. Basically midgets running. That's like an advantage.
They don't care no more.
That's good. I guess that's a good thing. Like, women in sports now. Speaking of women in sports, have you seen how back in the days, basically no women participated in all that? Now you have it where women are basically wanting equal everything, including equal pay. They want to stay in the same hotel. They want the same uniforms. They want the same field advantages. They want the same lunches, and you got to respect that because that's just what the world has come to. They deserve equal rights and pay.
I don't know about all that, but they deserve rights.
Now, interesting. Now you don't say maybe not all that because why would you not say? Because the times are shorter, or what would you say? What would you think? Why not equal?
A woman
Season is
can't
short.
get paid as much as a man. She don't draw nobody. You have to draw somebody in order to get paid.
When you say draw, like for them to come. Now, I respect all opinions, and that's true. Because I went to a WNBA game before. It was not the crowd.
That's WNBA. It's not like pro basketball. You have to draw the people in order to get paid.
Sponsorships and all the type stuff, right? Now that's a great point because they can't pay you all that money, and the Nike or something like that will not gonna drop the same type of bag. Now, so would it be the corporate? Now, should the corporate people start looking at it different, as far as like why y'all giving them TV coverage and not the women TV coverage?
They don't
Because
care.
you could grow a fan base by TV coverage. You know, you don't have no fan base.
I know, but it's for different politics. You have to get into it and find out about it. They don't care.
That's a great point right there. But I do believe that they are making actions, and the women are standing up all around, including the world of sports. As you see, the 49ers had their first, would have been Super Bowl winning coach, female coach. But came up a little short. Tell us, since we on sports, tell us a great sports story we may not know about for someone coming out the Bay Area. It may not be Richmond, just about the Bay Area, like even a person that went further than, took it all the way.
It didn't used to be no black coaches was head coaches. They could only be assistant coaches.
And then, is that high school? Is that college? Or is that
was everywhere.
Is that right?
Black people done came a long way since roots.
Now, just so the kid, my production team, my kids, shout out Delay and D'Angelo. Roots is a black slave movie. Y'all might not know. That's what he's referring to. So he's saying things that came along, but I also speak to some people and this be like, we still haven't got what we supposed to.
We still don't have the equality, but back in the days, I went to school in 70. It was no black head coaches. College, pros, and no sports.
That's wild to think about. So high school, even your high school didn't have no black coaches?
You had no. The head coach had to be white.
Wow.
It was a lot of difference.
So I guess sports have came a long way. The women, races, disabilities, and all. That's good to know, because 1970, that's good 50 years. And you got to think 50 years before that was the 20s, and we was really slaves.
Oh, it was really slaves, yeah.
Yeah, so it's good to let the kids see, like, that's what, boom, that time frame. They don't realize you was just coming off that era where we was free, and now you able to get into segregated schools and things like that, like, where it's mixed in. Like before, this was, even with the mixed races, was something different, right? Now, what year was that they started mixing schools? They started mixing the.
Well, Rochester went to Pinole Valley in 70. And they started integrating, putting them on the teams. And they got good because they're blacks. If it wasn't for the blacks, they'd still be a loser school.
Man, I see James Hughes, most valuable runner, all East Bay, all Northern California.
Oh, yeah, he was good.
But on the all, mostly, the track team is mostly, like you said, you know, it's 1, 2. I see 2 out of, what's that, maybe 25 heads I count, approximately. And shout out James Hughes. Shout out James Hughes. Larry Williams, that's, look familiar. Yeah, so, tell us about a famous game. Tell us something interesting about a game that you experienced when you was growing up. What was one of your most memorable games?
All the games good.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it fan support back then?
Oh, it was fan support. The stands was full.
Those big old stands?
Some big old stands was packed.
They not there. They renovated, but when I went there, they were still there.
Some big old stands there. They were packed.
All right.
Yeah, we used to have beer floats. We did all kinds of stuff.
Like homecoming floats?
Homecoming floats. A lot of people went to the games. It was more Friday night, everybody was at the game.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Having enjoying themselves. That's where it was at, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Now, back in your time, I'm gonna wrap this up. You know, I just want to make sure. You know what I mean? Hey, Coach Rogers. Now, Coach Rogers went there.
70.
In the 70s. And you know, he ended up being my coach, my freshman year basketball coach.
He was young when he first came there.
Wow, he do look young. This man was my PE coach and basketball coach, y'all. And he coached with Grandpa, too. That's tight, huh? To go through generations. You know, I believe he retired, but... Man,
He had won a championship his first year. When I came in my first year.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You
We
know
were undefeated.
he knew one thing I say, he knew what he was talking about. Yeah. So, what type of schools did y'all play back then? As a coach, me and the coach was talking about how things has changed recently, as far as competition and just us.
Harry L's, El Cerrito, De Anza, Pinot, Berkeley High, San Leandro.
Oh, San Andreas in the ACCA, yeah? So we always play the Oakland team here and there. That's been history, huh?
In the preseason, we played some Oakland schools.
Yeah. That's one thing, like, to me, growing up, it was like, we was always get used to go play one of them Oakland schools, whether it was Mac or Oakland Tech or something like
We
that.
used to scrimmage with Mac and stuff.
Right.
I used to fight every play.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's just more like we played the ghetto schools, like it was the ghetto schools versus ghetto schools. Like it seemed like the other teams didn't want to come out there and play us. Oh shoot! Look at West Boy. Y'all dance thing was nice, huh? Ain't older now. Let's just. Hey, Giant Burger. What type of places did y'all go eat?
Giant Burger across the street to the convenience store.
Giant Burger, 130.
All kinds of places.
Where was Giant Burger at?
Right on the corner, 23rd and
It's going out.
whatever street that was. It was right by Richmond High.
I wonder is that the Fila Burger nowadays? Oh, that's what it is. Oh, so Giant Burger, Fila Burger was Giant Burger. That's interesting. Did y'all know that Fila Burger was Giant Burger? But to me, this is tight right here. With the All American. How many other people did you know made All American? I see they got every state in here.
A lot of people.
From California.
Front page is.
Oh, they gave you the.
It's the team that made the Super 11. Right here.
that's like the super. Ooh, so Super 11 is like the starting five, the starting team of all of them, huh?
Of all these teams, all these people in here, you had
Here it is. Ooh,
all these people.
Ted Bell,
You had Ted Bell.
Youngstown, Ohio. Jim Cavallo,
You had 11
Earl
people.
Campbell.
Earl Campbell.
That's Earl Campbell?
Earl
Hey.
That's when he was a youngster. I graduated the same year he did.
74.
And one of his legs was big as my whole body.
University of Texas, Earl Campbell. That's him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he ended up being a legend. Wow.
Legend.
I'm going to have to post that one. Melvin Florney. I don't know who that is.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Eckwood. John Evans. That sounds familiar.
It's one person.
Ken McAfee.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the same Ken McAfee?
Mm-hmm.
That ain't the same Ken McAfee.
It is.
Hey, that's what's up. John, what was you about to say?
It was one person in every position that got picked on the 11th team.
Oh, yeah, you had to be bad, bro. I seen two backs running.
You had to be bad.
And you had to be bad. Like, put out some numbers. I want to go back and look at their numbers and look at the numbers these dudes is putting up nowadays. Like, compare it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the prep All-American 100 squad. What's that?
They picked 100 people. They picked like different people.
Top 100.
Mm-hmm.
Man. See, on the thing, it had you up there as wrestling. They didn't have you up there as football.
No.
All-American. But what did you go All-American in, for wrestling or football?
All-American in wrestling.
No, okay. But everybody know you for football. It was a Jimmy Green.
Mm-hmm.
He was a tackle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking over these names, seeing if I see any football players. But Earl Campbell, that's the biggest one right there. That's probably the biggest of y'all class, huh?
Mm-hmm.
He ended up being one of the NFL's greatest. But yeah, we're gonna wrap this up, man. I just appreciate you taking the time to speak with Fastfeetent. You got any advice for any young ones coming up trying to make All-American and just playing sports and
You gotta just play and get the grades right.
play and get your grades right?
You gotta get them grades right.
Is that important for recruitment?
Mm-hmm.
Now hear that?
Take the SAT tests and all the tests so you'll be ready when they come to your senior year.
Hey, Sac had a dude out of Del Rio named James Owen. He was a running back.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only California dude I've seen on there. But all right, I appreciate y'all. Thanks. I'm gonna give a special shout out to Caballo, however you pronounce it. For taking the time to speak with Fastfeetent, All-American, real All-American. Let them know.
All time.
All time, me in the books. And thanks for my special production team, Tink and D-Lo, my kids, for helping me out, and we're going to put this together. And Fastfeetent, never know who we'll have on the next one. You never know who we'll have on the next one. Peace, love.
You have to be good. You have to be good and meet all the height requirements and grade requirements and stuff. You just can't play football.
There's more to it.
More to it.
You gotta, it's life, sports, grades, and then just even getting in college.
Mm-hmm.
My little experience, is more to it, and just keep going, stay pushing.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for following Fastfeetent. Instagram Fastfeetent, YouTube Fastfeetent. Have a good day. Put your foot in it.
Yeah, we just stopped again.
Whatever street that was. It was right by Richmond High.
I wonder if that the Fila Burger nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But University of Texas, Earl Campbell, that's him.